Welcome back, and today we are playing out the F-15C Golden Shower. Now before we start today, I just want to preface that I just got done moving into my new house and I'm gonna sound a little bit different today. I'm in a completely empty room and I decided to salvage the audio quality by rocking up with this kind of setup. I have my entire bed down here around my monitors. It's an absolute pain in the ass to even see what's going on, but at least it sounds somewhat respectable. Something that the F-15C unfortunately isn't really. The F-15C is a plane that handles decently well. It has better flight performance in terms of a 1v1 compared to something like the F-15E. However, the F-15E has of course monstrous engines, and I think this is a bit of a side grade, and the F-15E is not what it once was. The engines are good at being defensive, but offensively this plane is gonna be a bit better. You have the ability to turn in and out, to defeat and shoot missiles off at the same target, and the radar is just overall a lot more potent. The energy is a bit worse, but the max range of the missiles isn't that big of a deal anymore. Now people actually know how to defeat missiles at max range. But keep in mind that you are gonna be facing Eurobombs and Raviolis essentially every game, because you are 14.3. You are at the absolute top of the BR, and I just don't see the reason why. The plane isn't unflyable. It's by no means the worst thing you've ever seen. It has some hands. The issue is that you need to make the plays happen on your own. You need to use the radar to find basically everyone and look for a needle in the haystack to find a little bit of a spot to actually position yourself in order to get multiple kills. And in this sense the plane is pretty decent, but there is a lot of planes that can already do this while being better all around. Whether it's more missiles, whether it's better missiles, whether it's a better flight performance, or straight up all of the above. This thing doesn't really give you any edge over anyone at 14.3, and I think that it really doesn't need to be all the way up here. And yes, it is flyable because the radar is so good, but every plane at 14.3 has a good radar. They are able to turn in and out quicker, and they have better missiles that are better suited for these kind of ranges. We have French Baguette 49 in his Ravioli that just got clapped, but it's because he ran straight at my plane. If he notches and just shoots over Mika while directly adjacent to me, I really have no answer to that. Back in the day, flight performance used to be really important, because all you need to do was go below 100 meters of the multipad every missile into the ground, force a merge, force a dogfight, and you could probably win. And that's why the F-15A was actually good versus something like the Su-27. Nowadays, flight performance matters less, and that doesn't mean that this thing has good flight performance, because all you really win against is something like an Su-30, and even then it is debatable. I'm also of course only speaking about after the merge, a close range dogfight, because the Su-30 can simply stamp on the Cobra button, shoot off some missiles and probably kill you anyway. It's a bit of a trait. It's one of the only planes that can basically kill anything if it's lucky enough. It's not the best consistent method, but it can always kill you, and this is of course after the merge. The Su-30, if played right, will never let you merge, because in a BVR it is the better plane. It has more missiles, they are stronger, it's better at turning in and out, and the R77-1s are also better at turning in, because they are a lot more maneuverable, especially off the rails. Not to speak about the range they have. The R77-1, if they simply fly straight and they don't need to maneuver, is actually going to outrange essentially everything in the lobby. And while the countermeasures might be a bit of an argument, it has enough. The F-15C Golden Shower doesn't need to have 3 billion countermeasures. Like 200 is more than enough. The ball pods are nice to have, but they do not warrant an entire BR bump. Yes, it's a small bump, it's a 4.0 to 4.3, but keep in mind some things are also worse about this plane. It's not just a better plane overall, and having ball pods is not worth the trade-off. And you might think 0.3 isn't that big of a deal, but keep in mind, when you are at 14.0, you might get down-tiered sometimes. When you do get Raviolis and Eurofighters in your game, there's a chance there's only gonna be 4 of them. Whereas when you are at 14.3, every match is going to be completely filled with the top of the line planes of every nation. And this is what really curbs the F-15C Golden Shower. Now you might run into people that don't know what they're doing, like whatever you're seeing on the screen right now. Just dive on the first guy you see, sacrifice all your altitude, dump all your missiles and maybe get a singular kill. And then position yourself in a way where you can instantly get countered by someone else. We have the F-15E directly underneath us. Now right now he's multipathing, and you can argue that he has better range, he has better speed, he will outrun us pretty easily, and that is correct. But with missiles you need to respect whatever is coming at you. And the second you start dodging my missiles because I'm within the no escape zone, guess what? You are going to be losing speed going defensive, and I will catch you. The F-15E has no answer to the F-15C if it actually gets close enough. It is too much of a brick, even after the buff. Now luckily, a lot of the people in the lobby run F-15s. You can see it in the kill feed. There's a lot of F-15Cs, there's a lot of F-15Es, there's F-16Cs, and against these planes, yeah, it's pretty competitive. But that's not the planes you run into all the time, and when we really compare it to whatever it sits at, it needs to be changed. But enough ranting, let's take a look at some actual gameplay. Because guess what, I've yapped for 6.5 minutes, contributing absolutely nothing to the conversation. I think it's pretty clear what the F-15C is like, that it's too much of a BR, and that it sits in a pretty uncompetitive spot while still having a decent amount of hands. How do we use it? By navigating the battlefield, and this is gonna be the same thing as with basically every other plane, but we actually have to be a little bit more cautious because we are not able to be as aggressive. We're not able to pull in as close. We have to turn out earlier, and we have to recommit a little bit more aggressive because it takes us more time to get our nose around, and we have to get our nose closer because the A120s don't turn as aggressively when they come off the rail. So you can tell that I'm gonna hang back a little bit extra, and I'm gonna use my TWS to look around the battlefield. I'm looking for targets that might pose more of a threat late game, and I'm looking for people that I might just want to get a free kill on. But for now I'm not really looking at anyone, I'm just seeing everyone spotted in the middle of the map. So I'm gonna use my altitude to fly up over all of these guys, and then I'm just gonna start dropping missiles all around. I'm this time actually gonna shoot around my teammate. This is something that I normally don't really do, but there's a lot of enemies in the area and there's only one friendly. The chances of me team killing this guy are pretty slim because he's probably just like that going to die before we get close. Now we come in, we get 3 kills, and we're gonna start gunning this Su-30, and that is going to be all she wrote for this game. And then you get spotted, your team is dead, you get attacked from 3 different angles, and hypothetically, this did of course not happen in that game because we never die, you might get shot down by a ravioli that had no wings left. It's a completely hypothetical scenario that obviously didn't happen. And here we are on the left hand flank again with 3 of our teammates, while 3 of my other teammates managed to dump it into the ground as we look around the battlefield to find a good spot to drop ourselves into. Now we notice this F-15. He's going incredibly fast towards the middle of the map. He's a little bit late, he might actually have jipped in, and I'm gonna keep my eyes on him. He's probably looking at someone, he's flying directly in. I'm not sure what he's looking at, but we're just gonna fire a missile off. He is well within range. He's flying perfectly straight. Not sure if he's AFK, what he's doing, but I do want to put a little bit of pressure on him. We shoot it off, and if he doesn't notch properly and just keeps on flying straight, because he might think that he notches it by flying straight onto the 90 degree for a little bit, but you still need to fool the IOG, which he fails to do. We have another guy all the way 24 kilometers away, flying away from us. I am not worried about him. He is not going to be a threat in the near vicinity of our future. I'm just going to ignore him, and I'm going to see if I can use my missiles on a more target rich environment without wasting my time. We have a teammate on fire. He's being engaged, so I now know that they are actually looking up. I need to be somewhat careful, but I am still going to be looking around and lobbing missiles off on people that are either engaged by someone else, pincer them, force them to turn into one direction, and if you do that, they need to notch you or your friendly. They can notch both at the same time, and down goes the Su-30. We see an Su-27 on the deck, probably an Su-30. Another missile comes from a tree on the bottom of our screen. And we're also getting shot at by another plane. So we want to actually stay defensive here. I don't want to drop on the guy directly below us. I'm going to keep looking at the Su-27, make sure he dies. Then we use a separation to notch the missile that is coming from behind. Go up a little bit to drain it of speed. It's relatively close, it's probably not going that fast anymore, and I'm not about to die to a landmine. After I make sure that it's really close, I do a split test, pull it into thicker air, and we start engaging. It's not really a furball, but the last few enemies on this side of the map. F-18 coming in, Su-30 that's being pincered by 2 friendlies already. He is not going to be surviving, so we break off and fly towards another radar signature that we find on this side of the map. Now we guide in a missile, we drop the missile directly on his forehead, he doesn't multipad properly and it ends up critting him with a splash. After that it's just a matter of dropping directly on top of him. Maybe we shoot another missile, we don't need to use them sparingly, there's only one guy left. So we air brake directly on his 6 and then we use our infinite amount of Vulcan ammo to just hose him into the Shadow Realm. The Vulcan is something that is incredibly nice to have. It's easy to use, it's easy to aim, it does a good amount of damage, and you have a load of ammo. Now unfortunately guns don't really matter at top tier and the flight performance isn't really that good anyway, so relying on it is a bit of an help, but it's nice to have regardless whenever the situation arises. Missile comes in, we start notching, and the Su-30 starts engaging someone else, so he's probably not looking exactly where we are, and I still have a rough idea where he is. I have him locked up with TWS. And instead of going into the mountain ranges here and giving him the advantage at close ranges, we start climbing over the mountain while we know where he is. I'm gonna have him locked up. I'm already kind of pre-notching. I'm at a maximum gimbal limit of my radar here. So when he pops up, I'm gonna fire a missile and he needs to react immediately. We fire off the missile. He doesn't register it's coming until about here. He needed to turn out. He needed to go defensive. Instead, he goes for the trade. And we know how to notch a missile, so the trade turns into him just headbutting the missile straight up. If this was a 1v1, I probably would have said that's the right thing, just go for the trade. Because if you turn out, you give me your 6, I'm gonna be able to run you down. You're in a terrible position because the Su-30 in a defensive posture, like that 6, is probably going to die because it's massive and a bit of a boat. However, he has teammates around, so all he needed to do was stay alive long enough for that F-15 to come in. And he probably would have been fine. Now in this case, he gives me a nice little kill and we dip into the mountain range to defeat these missiles by simply blocking them straight up. No RNG, no notching required, no mental required, you just dip below the terrain and you do the opposite of what Twitchy was doing because he just flew straight at it at a decent altitude. There's no way that missile is going to be missing. The F-15 is in a flat spin, he's about to rage spray, there it is. And we notice that there is a launch coming in, but it's already past us, so that is a bit of a false warning. Now, who do we engage? It's not going to be the MiG-15 that's circling the middle of the map. It's one of the other 2 guys that is flying somewhere. And right now, I don't know where they are exactly. I know that there is a guy ground pounding in the middle, and he is right there. It's the F-18. We shoot off a missile, we start notching. He again just flies straight into it. We notch the missile and then we notice that the F-16AM is killing howitzers in the middle of the map. Where is he? Probably in the middle of the map. And luckily this radar will just tell you straight up what plane you're locking onto, so you can actually filter the AI out, which is a terrific feature all around. And probably one of my biggest pet peeves from lower BR radars, where you keep locking onto people and you're not sure what you're looking at. Is it a guy that's ground pounding? Is it an AI? Whoever you are looking for might just hide within 14 MiG-15s and you have no idea that he's there. Now this doesn't of course happen all that often, but you know what I am talking about. So we have the F-16 here, he's flying away and there's another enemy somewhere around. We don't know where he is exactly. We are simply looking around and looking at our RWR. I'm not sure where they're coming from. I just know that the F-16 right now is flying into the opposite direction towards his airfield because he's probably out of ammo. So we just climb straight in, we fly towards the middle of the map and we keep looking at our RWR, and we do want to make sure that we don't get spiked by a Magic 2 for example, by a guy that has his radar turned off, so you still need to use your Mark 1 eyeball and actually look around. I know radars are nice to have, but it's not an all-seeing eye that you can just blindly rely on. Same thing as with the RWR. So here we kind of lobbed the missile, we loft it over the mountain ranges, give it a little bit of extra range as it comes crashing down directly on top of the F-16. Is it going to kill him? We don't know just yet, but we have 4 missiles left, 3 at this point, so I'm not in a dire need to conserve these things. It ends up hitting him, he is crit, and he is not doing incredibly well. He flies directly into the mountain, and then we look for the last enemy. That ends up just straight up kissing a tree. He says GG, and that is going to be the end of the video. Just a quick disclaimer, if I sound weird or if it's kind of echoey still or if the visuals look kind of weird sometimes, I'm not on my regular setup. It's been a pretty hectic 2 weeks at this point. We have moved everything over. We still need to paint some stuff, put in some doors, stuff like that. The house isn't completed just yet, so it's gonna take a little bit longer. Next week's video might still be up to this quality. After that we should be back and probably better off than we started before this one. Thank you very much for watching my golden shower, and I'll see you all in the next one.